Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into episode 2 of It. Welcome to Derry. We're talking about that supermarket nightmare with Lilly, that cereal box detail, and a theory about Phil. If you spotted something weird, a lot of people did. We're gonna break it all down and talk a little bit more about what the significance of that scene was. So episode 2 gives us some absolutely wild visuals, but also some subtle hints that maybe not everything is quite as final as it seems. One of the key moments, Lily's guilt trip in the supermarket. How the town sees her, and then the cereal boxes showing her friends who died in episode 1. But then there's Phil. His box looks normal. Could he still be alive? I think it's an interesting possibility that will break down in this video. But I also think if he was, the show might make it more obvious. So let's unpack it. First off, let's talk about Lily's supermarket scene and her survival's guilt. Lilly Bainbridge. She's already carrying heavy trauma from her dad's death in the pickle factory accident. Episode 1 reminds us she's emotionally fragile. In episode 2, the supermarket trip is the big standout. The store becomes a maze. The jars of pickles become horror, and she's haunted by her own guilt and fear. Importantly, the supermarket and hallucinatory sequences aren't just scary visuals. They mirror Lily's internal battles. Did I do enough? Could I have prevented things? Etc. Her being pressured by the police to name her friend's father doesn't help. So the scene works on two levels: literal horror and the psychological horror. That's what makes it sticky. Now let's talk about the cereal boxes. In this episode, Lilly sees images of her friends who died in episode 1 in the theater. She sees them on cereal boxes. It's a surreal horror touch, but also a breadcrumb. Some viewers notice that one friend's box, Phil's, doesn't show him burnt or decomposing, whereas others are clearly shown as corpses or badly damaged. That raises the question: is the show hinting that Phil might be alive, or at least that his fate isn't sealed yet? Now, there is a little bit of support for this theory. The normal box, or half the normal box, whatever way you want to look at it, that might be intentional, and that might be a tease, or an Easter egg. But there are lots of reasons to be skeptical. If he was alive, you might think the show would lean into that more overtly to hype suspense. Also, multiple sources suggest all the kids' bodies were found in the theater accident. So maybe the normal box is misdirection, or simply stylistic. My take: I think the show likely went for this as a subtle detail, not a full reveal. It's an interesting clue, but I don't believe we're meant to assume Phil is alive for sure. Now, why does this matter? If you treat these scenes as just jump scares, you'll miss some of the deeper threads. What to watch out for in the upcoming episodes are these: whether Phil is gonna appear again in flashback or hallucinations, how Lily's guilt arc evolves. If she's truly haunted by friends she saw die, her mindset will shape her actions moving forward. Alright folks, that wraps up my thoughts on episode 2's biggest moment and that cereal box mystery. What do you think? Is Phil still alive, or did the show just use a bit of weird imagery for atmosphere? Drop your theory in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss next week's deep dive. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.